This video is for the Karens of YouTube. Last week I posted a video called Spearfishing in Murky Water. Basically, I catch a couple of Spanish mackerel and eat them as sushi. And this video was censored by YouTube. They do this thing called age restricting a video, which essentially means that they deem it inappropriate for kids under 18. But in reality, any kid can easily get around this restriction with the click of a button. And 94% of my audience is over the age of 18 anyways, so it shouldn't really matter. But what age restriction really means is that your video is going to be censored. Not deleted, just basically, the algorithm just won't promote your video in the same way that it promotes other videos. So, YouTube censored this video, but they didn't say why. All they said was that it violates their community guidelines. And so I filed for an appeal, which got rejected. But I at least wanted to know why it was censored. So I followed up again with an email. I know what you're thinking. My channel is about spearfishing, and so presumably the censorship had something to do with that. But I wanted to know the exact reasoning. Because the YouTube community guidelines on animal abuse has a specific stipulation allowing for hunting and fishing activities. Okay, let's pause for a moment and talk about that. The idea that fishing or hunting for your food is under the animal abuse section of the community guidelines is absolutely crazy. Buying a burger at a restaurant is actual animal abuse. Most of those cows were legitimately abused before getting slaughtered and sold at a TGI Fridays. Don't get me wrong, I order burgers at restaurants all the time. But let's not pretend that it's ethical. Aside from all this, I do kind of appreciate that YouTube included that stipulation in there, even if they do ignore it sometimes and censor my videos. Other platforms, like TikTok, are a lot less tolerant of fishing. In fact, TikTok is extremely anti-fishing. When I used to post on TikTok, it got to a point where, more likely than not, if I posted a video, it would get flagged and taken down by the platform. Meanwhile, TikTok would promote videos of an underage 16-year-old girl named Charlie D'Amelio twerking in a tiny bikini to billions of people. And you can find those videos reposted here on YouTube as well. I'm not saying that she shouldn't be allowed to twerk if she wants to, but these corporations think that it's morally acceptable to show videos of this underage girl twerking to millions and millions of adult men while simultaneously censoring those same adult men from seeing a video of me catching a fish and eating it as sushi. And speaking of sushi, let's talk about that for a moment. I love sushi, but it's well documented that commercial fishing is literally destroying our oceans. Giant ships trawl around scooping up every living thing in their path, including whales, dolphins, and sharks, while trying to catch tuna, whose populations are in such record low numbers that some of them are already an endangered species. And when they do catch all these animals, the dolphins have probably already suffocated in their nets, and the fins of the sharks are sawed off so that they can be sold in China, while the rest of their bodies are discarded alive back into the ocean. And the fish are left to suffocate for hours and hours on the deck of a ship until they're eventually flown halfway around the world to be fed to this guy.
Cheers, sushi.
I found this video on YouTube. It's got over 360,000 views, and it's not age restricted. The algorithm thinks that watching this is more wholesome than catching a fish in the most ethical, sustainable, and humane way possible, and then eating it as sushi. Anyways, when YouTube responded to my email, they said a clip at 1 minute and 29 seconds is the reason that it was censored. So I checked the video, and to be fair, it's a little bloody. Not crazy bloody, but a little bit. You can go check out the video yourself if you want. And so I asked YouTube, what if I blur out that image at 1 minute and 29 seconds? Would they uncensor it then? And then I waited for another response. And while I waited, I found another video by an artist named Bob Dylan. It has over 1 billion views, and it's not age restricted. And it's called Anaconda. Wait, did I say Bob Dylan? I meant to say Nicki Minaj.
My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
I'm not saying that this video should be censored.
Look at her butt.
But if we are going to censor certain videos for the sake of our nation's youth watching wholesome content,
Look at her butt.
is my fishing video really less wholesome than this?
Anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun.
Listen to this part of the song.
I let him hit it cause he's slaying cocaine.
She literally just said that she had sex with a guy just because he's a drug dealer. And I'm not saying that this should be censored, but how is my video less wholesome than that?
None unless you got
And speaking of commercial fishing and Nicki Minaj, here's a clip of Nicki Minaj and Jimmy Fallon eating at a Red Lobster. Look at all that food. It reminds me of this guy. But I don't want to talk about commercially caught fish anymore. I want to talk about this.
Good thing is a lobsterita.
Lobsteritas?
Lobsteritas. Talk about shit that should be censored. A lobsterita? Are you kidding me?
I am not joking.
That's the most offensive thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Anthony Bourdain is literally rolling over in his grave right now. The last video I posted got 25 million views in just a month, and I'm incredibly thankful. But whenever I make a video that goes that viral, I can always expect a lot of comments about how much of a psychopath I am. I'm not really hurt by the insult, but I get a little disappointed in myself, because it means that I've failed to show those people what spearfishing actually is, which is a sustainable way to catch fish, enjoy the ocean, and be healthy. YouTube eventually got back to me and said that even if I blurred that part of the video, it will still remain age restricted. They said that the content was sensationalized. And although I do disagree with them about this particular video, if I'm being totally honest, maybe I do sensationalize catching fish a little bit too much in some of my other videos. The ethics and sustainability of spearfishing is so obvious and engraved in my mind that sometimes I forget that it's not always the case for other people who are watching my videos, who might not be quite as familiar with spearfishing. And I think that I could do a better job of representing that in the future. And as for showing blood in my videos, the way I see it, I have two options. I can either change the way that I tell my stories so that they're more family friendly and YouTube and other platforms will accept them, or I can learn to twerk. Just kidding. The second option is that I include these same clips in my videos, but just censor them out of the ones that I post on YouTube via blurring effect, and then repost them on another site uncensored, which is what I'm going to do. The lowest price you're possibly allowed to charge people on Patreon is $1 a month. And so that's what it's gonna cost to see uncensored versions of my future videos. They'll still be available here on YouTube for free, and they always will be, but certain moments that I think will be censored by the algorithm will be blurred out ahead of time. The next video I'm about to post is about how some friends and I caught a giant 100-pound fish on an island near Bali and then shared the fish with the local islanders. But some of this video is definitely going to have to be blurred out just so that the algorithm will promote it normally. If you decide to support me on Patreon, I do appreciate it. For a lot of these reasons I just talked about, it's actually pretty difficult for me to find sponsors for my channel. And while that's mildly annoying, I think that the fact that my videos aren't exactly advertiser friendly is also part of the reason that they get so many views. And I'll never sacrifice that authenticity for sponsorships. And since I'm gonna have a Patreon account, I might as well post some less edited behind the scenes content as well. The videos I make for YouTube are very specific to the algorithm, but it could be cool to try out some different formats without having to specifically make sure that every video is extremely fast paced in the normal YouTube format. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to smash that flag as offensive button.